Thanks for staying with us. Now, the received 6.25 billion from the federal government for ranch development project by the Katsina state government is intended to check clashes between farmers and herders, which have snowballed into banditry in states across Nigeria's northwest and north central regions. While they approved 658 million naira for the deployment of sniffer dogs at the Lagos and Abuja International Airport, is perhaps to checkmate drug peddlers. Now, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctor President blamed the rapid migration of Nigerian medical professionals abroad on the poor treatment and the welfare in the health system. Speaking on the government's response to the doctors' demand, the minister had claimed that the majority of 12 demands had been met. On medical and life insurance for frontline doctors, the minister claimed that the government had released 9.3 billion naira for payment of premium. Now, he said many families of the 19 doctors that died from COVID-19 had been cleared for payment, and that the government only asked the National or Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors to identify them on the list submitted to the government. But the NARD president described the minister's claim as false, noting that none of the 12 demands had been met. He said none of the families of the 19 doctors who died on the front line had received the life insurance benefit. On hazard allowance, Mr. Ngige, as the minister said, about 37.5 billion had been released for all health workers, a claim countered by Mr. Uyilawal, that's the president of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, saying that money released is not money paid. Our question tonight is, where should our priority lie? And what is, this non-prioritizing of our health workers costing us as a nation? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. We're going to open our phone lines in the second half, but, just keep sending your messages if you have any. So, we took the story yesterday about the courts, telling the resident doctors to suspend. They should cool off and let everybody just calm down. You understand? And I am now wondering, we've had conversations on brain drain several times where it seems like anybody you corner. I was chatting with someone and she was physically livid. Complaining that this thing she's done, like there was a time she had hopes and all of that, but she's tired. So many people she knows, they're going to the UK, they're going to Canada, they're going to the US. Like at this point, she's also already making plans to head out of the country.
Is she a doctor?
She's not a doctor. Okay. She's just a Nigerian citizen. But she has another tired Nigerian. Tired, right? She's just tired. But let me come to you, Elsie. In terms of prioritizing, because this story about cattle, releasing 6.7 billion naira for ranching, and doctors are asking for some level, because part of what they're asking for is like what they said about the hazard, the allowances that were supposed to be paid, and all of that. These are valid things. Do you think our government understands what to prioritize at the time that we're in?
That's a big question. I don't think it's a prioritizing issue. This is my personal opinion. For me, what is governance? If you Google it or if you search for it, the definition will be a system by which entities are directed, are controlled. Governance is not supposed to be just for health workers, right? It's supposed to be all-encompassing. And when you read through the story of the release of the 6 points, whatever billion naira for ranching, it's one of the efforts they think is the right move for them to be able to check the clashes between the farmers and the herdsmen. And we know how many lives that as well has taken. So we cannot say it is
taking one over the other.
We cannot say we have to take one over the other. What we need is governance, which is always responsive, and not just responsive to one part, but responsive to all. We cannot say, oh, don't sort herdsmen, because we have been shouting. The only difference now is we ask the question. I think we've had that session on the show when we're talking about the ranching and it being a business and all these monies that are being pumped into that place. Is it that it's going to be paid back? Are they going to make it back for the government, or are the government just giving these people grants to start their businesses? That is the part I do not understand. But whatever they are doing there, we know it is important to solve the biggest issue that is going on there. However, I would be the first to say how the issues of the health workers have been treated in this country is very heartbreaking, like extremely heartbreaking, because again, of course, it will cause loss of lives, brain drainage. People are not able to carry out their duties as they will. And when you raise this conversation in some quarters, people will tell you it is immoral for a doctor to go on strike. No, to go on strike. And I'm wondering, how would you say it is immoral for a doctor to go on strike because they're supposed to be saving lives? How are they supposed to feed? How are they supposed to survive? They are the ones that pay one of the highest tuition in school, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah? So they go through all that, spend the longest time, do their housemanship, or is it house officer, where they become the house officer, and then go to NYC as well. They spend way longer time, spend so much money, and you think that they just need to be saving your life because they are the angels that came down on earth without having. I was speaking to one of my friends. I mean, you talked about someone who just left the country, right? Or someone who's talking about people who are leaving the country. Most of my friends have actually left. She's one of them. She's a doctor in Nigeria here, but she left. She's now in the UK, and she was telling me that I don't know if you saw the news about them getting to the point where they don't want to pay house officers anymore because they think that they are in training, that they don't deserve to have a salary. And then the NYSC doctors as well, that they are not going to have a salary as well, that they will think of giving them an allowance. And these were people that were earning between 70k to 150,000 naira, depending on where you are posted, if you're state or federal. You know, those kind of differences were there, and you're saying you are taking it all away. And she was talking to me as well of what used to happen in this same Nigeria about 20 to 30 years ago. These same people that are trying to tell you you do not deserve it are people who their generation came out of medical school, got a house, got a car because they were house officers and they were being valued. They were living in a country that were being valued. I don't like comparing Nigeria to other countries just for conversation's sake, but in this situation I have to, because I had to ask her, okay, so in the UK, for example, a house officer equivalent, what are they being paid? I said in a month they get paid as much as £2,500.
Yeah.
Please, if you want to convert that,
don't bother.
Do we even still want to have this conversation? Right?
Don't
so
bother.
it's heartbreaking. Their demands are genuine. They've lost, I think, about 19 doctors or medical professionals to COVID-19, and they do not have death in service insurance. So everything they're asking for is very valid. But like you say, when you see some areas being attended to, and then if you look at it on the face value and what it is and not think of it deeply, it makes you begin to wonder, do these people really care about us?
So that's why it brings me back, and I'll come to you, Isi, it brings me back to the priority. You understand? It's not like I'm saying that the ranching issues or the herder clashing, farmer clashing is also, I am a farmer. I know what we pay in terms of security just to secure the farm. I know how we also get the scares when we see herdsmen around the farm. So it's an issue. But as a farmer, it is a personal business. Do you understand? This issue of saving life should be, as far as I'm concerned, should be priority. But let me come to you, because if you are investing money to ranching, shouldn't we see that same ginger, passion to they think that would save hundreds of lives in Nigeria?
Millions.
Let me come to you, Isi.
For me, black and white, our government has not prioritized the life of every Nigerian in this country. Why? There are different issues that have come up. We have insecurity. We have breakdown in the health system. Look at the issue of the fact. Okay, let's start with the fact that when the doctors were going on strike, that was when our president decided to travel out of the country. Not once, not twice. So why are we upset with the what's it called, the doctors? The doctors haven't done anything wrong. It is not immoral for them to go on strike. It is totally accountable. They can go on strike whenever they want to go on strike. Why? Because they have to feed their family. They have to take care of the loved ones. We have issues of I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said that in a what's it called, in a department, all the specialists in that department, they all relocated to Saudi Arabia. All of them. Why? At once. Everybody in that department. So what happens to anyone that falls ill and goes to that that needs the services of these doctors? Nothing. They are gone. So this is a case of when there is an agenda above, the grass actually suffers it. Whatever is happening up there, I really don't know much. But the key thing is this, that our priorities are misplaced.
Thank you.
Our government they've not represented us the way we wanted them to represent us in the first place.
Absolutely. So what's your experience like in government hospitals?
Myself?
Do you have any?
Oh, yes, I've had. I do not pray to be healed, and I do not pray to be healed and go to a general hospital, because you would see the level of rot in our system.
Yes.
And it's not just in the general hospitals. When we talk about prioritizing what's important and what's relevant in this country, it runs deeper. It's just because we have the doctors on strike to compare with the herdsmen financing. There's too many sectors that has been neglected and unattended to.
Absolutely.
Let's look at power, for example. We are literally at the mercy of distribution companies. The rates, the tariff they charge is ridiculous. You literally have to have your heart in your mouth. It is one thing to supply power and you want to top up and you can't even get it to work. For as long as 5 months, I've not used light from the discos. Not because I didn't want to, but because it doesn't work. Every time I try to load the stuff, it doesn't work. And you have a situation where, I remember when I was still living in the UK, you can always buy credit. If per adventure your life finishes in the middle of the night, you can always buy credit, and when you top up, they can take the credit out. Nothing of such works in this country. It's not just about whether we're prioritizing herdsmen over the doctors. It goes beyond that. A lot of accidents that were totally avoidable if we could just fix our roads. A lot of deaths that were avoidable if there was light even in the hospitals. There are times when the doctors are even on call, but people just die because of power outage.
Or they're under-equipped.
So it goes beyond the fact that, without a doubt, really, we're not trying to be nice or put it out nicely. There is no doubt that government does not care about the citizen and the life of people. I've lived in a developed country. I've had a situation to compare. And one thing I see is there is no love. Fundamentally, beneath everything is the lack of love for another human being. And it goes from even people on the streets, and that's how it cascades down to the government. People can see how hostile we are towards one another.
Exactly.
So they pass that same energy to us because they see how we treat ourselves. You can't go into a developed country. First, if you jump the queue, they're going to whip you in line very nicely. Someone is going to come here. People would defecate on the streets and everybody drive past. Nobody takes, there was a day I was driving and I saw a man driving like a mad person. I took the liberty to block him. But I thought for once, you're on your own, Damilola. Nobody shares this sentiment with
Nobody.
you. We have a big problem of looking the other way when things are going wrong. That's where we have a priority misplaced.
That's how we go ahead.
We should be able to hold our government accountable. How we're going to do it, I haven't figured it out. But then let's identify the issues and then let's identify how we're going to fix them.
You know what? We need to take
It's not identifying the issue.
It's not like we do not have the issue. The reason we just narrowed it down to cattle versus trekking doctor
It's because
it's the headache. Because trust me, if we go by what you said, every sector
is
help.
yes.
We'll take a break. When we come back from the break, we'll open our phone lines and we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. If you just tune in, it's our ladies' night out, and we are asking, where is our priority as a nation? Cattle or striking doctors? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, our phone line is now open. Please, when you call, do turn off the volume of your television set and keep your conversation within a minute so we can have as many people contribute. So it's 07025007749. That's the number to call, 07025007749. So when you call, I would like to also hear your experience, if you've had any experience with the what's it called, the government hospitals, you know, because I had a situation where my sister called me up one Sunday like that, and she said, please, do I know any doctor? And so I started the fine number. Apparently this young lady had been diagnosed with cancer. They've been treating and everything. You won't believe that they couldn't find a bed space for her. So she was on the floor there with oxygen, and it was that was how the young lady died. And there are hundreds of people
that died like that
just die. I mean, I visited where's one by Ikeja?
Yes,
that's last week, right?
Yes,
that's Lagos State Teaching Hospital.
I was
my heart was literally in my mouth.
I was subjected to being a guinea fowl.
I saw people taking, you could see the open sores, they just had an accident. They said there's no, and the attitude to it, they don't even have emotions.
That's another thing that I
no, you don't even get my point, because they are tired. What do you want them to do? You know, they do not have where to put you.
Want to help you, they take you home.
They can take you home.
I do not think that even the nurses,
leaders going to these hospitals, that is the what's it called, the federal hospitals that we have, the general hospitals, the commercial hospitals that everybody goes
to go to.
They will, I promise you, they will sit up and make sure everything works.
That's where,
but because they do not go to any of these hospitals, that's why their priorities are misplaced.
Yeah, so I hear you.
They have their personal doctors that come to their homes to take care of them.
Someone was saying that if possible, that we need to ban our public officers from actually using medical facilities outside the country. That might be the only way
but I don't think so. But
that would go a long way.
From Lagos, I believe, I think. Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, hello, how are you? Good evening.
Hi.
What are you saying?
Yes, you are. Franklin, thank you for calling.
Okay, I just want to contribute. It's quite worrisome at a time like this that we're talking about grazing much more than the striking doctors. When we're talking about lives here, I don't really understand when a government will take certain things seriously, because this singular action by the doctors is likely to cause much brain drain. Now that our doctors are moving in Saudi Arabia, before you know it, they'll start going to other countries and all that. And at the end of the day, we'll be left with fewer doctors to take care of people. And then we're so desperate. At the end of the day, we'll be paying much more for medicals. So at this point in time, the government needs to have a paradigm shift. Let them take the issue of the resident doctors seriously. Yeah. What do they want? What are they asking for? I mean, they should just sit at the round table and see how they can, sort it out.
Thank you.
Grazing, I don't really know why it should be a kind of priority, because to me, that's a private business. So, sincerely, I mean, the government at this point in time just face their priority, which I think at this point in time has to do with health, coupled with the fact that we have a medical debacle that is rearing its ugly head, and it keeps getting worse. It keeps getting exacerbated over time. We have Delta variant. We don't know what we're going to have next. So I think the government, honestly speaking, whoever that is in charge, the Ministry of Health and all that, the Ministry of Labor, they should just do all within their ambit and see that they attend to the doctor's strike. That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Franklin. And this is where I wanted to, because you sometimes you need to be able to help people think, right? I do not say that, we haven't said that insecurity is not a problem. The security issues that we have in this country is a big issue. But you see, ranching has and forever will be a business, right? This ones, people do not have control over whether they're going to fall ill tomorrow.
Or there's going to be an accident.
So if there's an opportunity as a government, like you rightly said about something about love, if you truly love your people, which are the sectors that are in dire need of help? Education is one of them, but we are not ready to go there.
We're not talking about
education. Health is one thing.
Health is
people
life,
that are life that you
can govern over.
But let me come to you, Elsie.
I mean, I agree that health is a big deal, but like I think you were the one who started from saying issues have compounded over the years, and you were saying something that I said I agreed with in terms of we have the culture of looking away, and we've done this for so long, like so long that we can't even begin to trace it back, and that's how we have gotten here. ASU goes on strike
repetitively, it becomes a norm,
and that is the same educational sector that would still provide the doctors that would end up taking care of the health sector. You know, that happens every time, but when it does not affect us directly, we are not really bothered. It is not a big
because
deal.
Their children are abroad schooling.
It's not just about them. It's about we as a people. Now, for me, as far as I'm concerned, if the health sector is this bad, right, I'm very thankful, and this is not me removing myself from a situation because we don't know what will happen tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Right? But I'm very thankful that I have not been able to experience what were just described, those gory vision, but that is the reality of a lot of people
every day,
right? That should be something that should make Nigerians be on the streets to say we need our health sector working. Even if they go back now and they say, oh, we'll pay the money, the court is telling them September 15th, if they don't, they will now resume the strike again, or whatever that is supposed to mean. I don't understand it. If they go back, what are they working with? This is not just about the money. This is not just about the allowance. This is not just about the insurance. It's about the health sector as a whole. There is a tool or an equipment they are supposed to work with. You know, this culture of them. I don't know if you saw it going around on social media or in the news of this hitting
to check.
It is not done anywhere in the world that is moving forward.
Oh my God, Nigeria is a
but
joke.
here you are sick. They will beat your life. They will beat you till that vein will come out. Somebody that is ill, and you cannot say no because vein must come out, right? But that's equipment. I think it's sold for, if I'm not I'm mistaken, so I'm not very sure, but it's either 75,000 or 750,000 because I know it's 75 something, right? But I think it's 750,000, and they're saying they cannot afford it in the hospitals in Nigeria. I'm also going to take this back to even the love you talked about in the health sector. We have private hospitals, right? If you know how much they pay doctors, you will be shocked that even the general hospitals pay better than private hospitals that are making more money. So I just got off the phone before we came on, and I hear that they pay them as low as 500 naira per hour. Please calculate it. We all went to school.
Okay, so let me take, while you're calculating, let me take from Angola, I believe, Banjide from Angola. Thank you for calling us. Okay, is it there? Hello? Banjide from Angola, did we lose the call?
That's a bit stretch.
Yeah.
We've been getting a lot of calls from Angola, Uganda these days.
Yes.
You know,
good stuff.
while we're calculating, did we calculate that? How many hours is that?
If you do 8 hours a day, you probably earn like 120,000 naira in a month.
Per day now, if it's 8 hours times 5.
Horrible.
No. 500 naira.
Oh, 500 naira. That's
Did you get 5,000 naira? 500
naira. 5,000 naira.
500 naira, she said.
So the issues are
It touches deep.
The issues are deep.
Well, let's talk about priorities again.
I hope we are not depressed though. The way we are sounding.
we have hope.
If you do not connect with the art of the matter,
depressing.
how do you then understand the plight of the people? Particularly, we are all human. Just like your personal experience with last week, I had one that was gory. And what was it? I went to test for breast
Cancer.
Just breast check.
To check
I
for
had
the
a bit
lumps,
of a pain in my boobs, and I needed to check breast. So, do you know what it subjected me to? After you've had to wait for hours,
Naturally.
now you have to come as early as 5 a.m., 4 a.m. and get a time, and then you wait and wait it out. I probably didn't get to see a doctor till like 2 o'clock from the early morning I go into the hospital. It's a teaching hospital, and a live human being with concern, with pain, is your test apparatus. It's most inhuman.
Dehumanizing.
They made me feel like
It's specimen.
they subjected me to checks in the presence of at least, I think, about 10
And you don't have
students.
an option. That's the annoying part.
And you cannot, I'm wondering what the heck is going on here.
You know, hold that.
You don't understand. You don't understand where you are in pain, and because you are in pain, mine is even subtle. Imagine someone going through a severe pain, and you have to tell one person check, Another person check. And they were pressing and having a...
Okay, so hold that thought. Banjide is back from Angola. Thank you for calling.
Oh, my country.
I wanted to come back to you. I'll come back to you on that.
Gosh.
Oh, my.
Banjide, are you there?
I'm there.
Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Yes, I'm there. Okay, thank you.
He needs to turn
Yeah,
off
good
the
evening.
volume of his TV set.
Can I go ahead?
Please go ahead. You're live. We can hear you.
Yes, I'm live with you guys there. Please, I'm outside the country, you know, but we are not happy with what is going on there in the country. At times we feel ashamed to answering the name Nigeria outside here. We feel ashamed because there is nothing give us joy in that country again. Nothing give us joy in that country again. Imagine in a country that citizens cannot be able to protest again.
Thank you, Bamijide. We have to cut you off because when you keep hearing yourself, you cause a delay, and it's the lag also affects the timing. But thank you. I think I get that point. A lot of people bear that sentiment. You know, for what we have, we shouldn't be where we are. I was going to say to you that in developed countries, there are cases where you would actually go into a teaching hospital and they actually bring students into that place, but they do it on your permission. You actually need to sign up to say a consent that you are agreeing to that.
From one student doctor
to be pressing,
to another one is totally
ridiculous. Well, he had something to say.
Should I say, most of our leaders, like we had the last guest talk about, 2 guests back talk about, that most of our leaders lack emotional intelligence. And because of this, we have turned into a jungle in Nigeria. And indeed, Nigeria is becoming every day like a jungle. Now, it is like the survival of the fittest. And who is the fittest? Those that are on top. If you're not able to measure up or meet up with everything that is currently happening, that means that you will be...
You're the unfit.
You're the unfit. And in that process, nobody wants to be unfit. Look at the situation whereby we had the senator earning about 1.5 million for sitting allowance in the Senate. And we have doctor's hazard allowance, 5,000 naira, which is totally ridiculous.
So that's where we're asking, where do you place the priority?
Our priorities, like I said, I'm still on the priorities. It's totally misplaced. So I'm giving you just opposing both of them for you to understand that we are not meeting up the demands of the people, and our priorities are totally misplaced. Look at the fact that we also look at the ranching system in Nigeria. We have talked about this grazing over and over. We've even flogged it to the extent that it's mind-blowing. But where are the cattle and the animals? Are human beings not supposed to supersede the animals? But here we talk about the animals time in, time out, every day, about the fact that the ranching system the ranchers should be allowed. Why am I calling them ranchers? Herders should be allowed to take the animals to wherever they want to go to, including grazing the food that we human beings are supposed to eat.
Well, they haven't said that. They haven't said that. So let us be careful, because they have said that. That's why they have actually carving out
that they should go
places.
They should go in. They should go in. Now, when the herders go into a location, what do? They tell them, oh, I want my cattle to go into this place. And when you say no, it becomes a tug of war.
So the reason we even brought up this comparison was the amount of money that was earmarked to Katsina State alone. This is just Katsina State. We do not know what other states, what the government is going to allocate to other states. Katsina State is getting 6.9 billion on cattle ranching. What happened to other states? That's one. Number two, these doctors, remember what the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctor President said? That when you say that you have earmarked or you have assigned, or you have allocated. Allocated is not direct to I have paid.
Access. They have access.
Do you understand? Have they accessed some of these funds?
The funds.
So if we say we are a people and we are genuine in our actions, it should also show in where we have placed priority. We are just, the reason for even this conversation tonight is just to help, what's it called? Try to shake up the minds of this our government. Let us believe that there's still some level of conscience inside of them. That when you are doing certain things, I want you to think for a second that if this were my daughter, she's working in a hospital, there's no light, there's nothing. Or this is my son, he's working in a hospital, he's exposed to all manner of, what's it called, infectious diseases. Would I allow him work there?
Definitely not.
We can't keep having all our best minds leaving the country.
Just because the country does not cater.
And somebody mentioned, who mentioned the fact that, oh, if they are forced to stay back to get treated in our hospitals, things will change. What gives? What gives? What eventually will happen is what we see all the time in Nigeria. There will be a special room in that hospital that is only for what's it called? For government officials.
That would be very dangerous for them, because I feel like if they can feel the, you know, sometimes when something begin to work, possibly a road has been very bad, and until one of their person gets stopped there before you realize that, oh, something needs to be done. It's happened in different areas. So if they don't experience it, somebody came out, was it last week? I can't remember who now, saying there is nothing wrong with our hospitals. I don't know if people saw that news. That is supposed to be your leader. He was saying, oh, there's nothing wrong with our hospitals. There's no hospital you go into and that you will not get treatment.
You'll be all right.
And I was wondering how. But for the money you were talking about.
You know what, hold on. Let me quickly take Mrs. Williams. She's holding. I think she'll be our last caller for today. Mrs. Williams, you're live. Thank you for calling from Ibadan.
You're not answering me.
Sorry. We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I want to know. Okay. In fact, the senior case, I was there. When I saw many people from government living in camp in Nigeria. What happened to them? That they had to live in camp. I could not believe it. I thought it was the last of Sudan. I never believed that this is happening to my country. But there's a lot of people living in camps in government state. What happened to their program? It was I could not believe it. I just could not believe it. I wonder why we just got so power to Nigeria and this is happening.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. I didn't get so much. You were talking about yam or something.
I didn't get that. But I think Ms. Williams is one of our first female callers.
Oh, really, for today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, you were going to say something about money. I think she was talking about people using yam to feed the cattle. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I wanted to mention from what I saw in the news regarding the funds that you're supposed to release. Again, this fund is not even, as far as I'm concerned, it is not the main issue. But the budgetary people are saying that they have for that's residency training fund outstanding for 2020 is 617,421,000. 670 million basically.
So let's just put that 600 million to 600 million for sniffer dog. 4 billion. Okay.
Right. And this money, like I said earlier, was contained in the 2021 supplementary budget, which the president signed on the eve of his departure to the UK
for medical treatment
and medical checkup. So they now need to start processing it since it has just been signed and all. And it's just so ridiculous.
Takes so long.
Sniffer dog. Do you hear what will happen to that sniffer dog in the future?
Please take your message. We ran out of time.
Nigeria.
Oh my God. Let me take, I think we have
They know how
Ade.
to break one's heart. I can take mine?
Go ahead,
okay.
quickly.
It says, good evening, ladies. I share the view that it's not about prioritizing cattle, but the failure of government in every sector in Nigeria. We have become laughingstock even amongst African
Ourselves.
countries. It's a pity. They didn't. Yeah, there's no name here though.
Even
Okay,
amongst
so good evening,
ourselves.
ladies. Or you can download Spotify for free. This will give you an
music.
unlimited music of any type and artist of your choice. It can only cost you internet and data. All right, thank you, Ade. It says doctor strike is legal, while House of Assembly should come up with a law to restrict government officials from using public funds and assets for their self-interest or enjoyment. The government officials don't respect citizens who vote them into power. Well, this is what we always say all the time when we
Why would
talk
they do
about
that?
issues like this, but we're just
It also
asking
affects them.
priorities. Should we go back? What do you think? Where do you think we are?
There's no doubt that we do not prioritize what's important. And we're somewhat unbothered. When you put out all this, the only concern for me is where do we go from here? It's not enough to talk about the issues. What is going to happen
What
after now?
next?
Because beyond the ula-baloo and the big conversations we throw out, who gets to hear them and who gets to act on them? We really don't have control over it. What I just fear is that we're going towards self-destruct as a country. And unfortunately, when an aircraft is already going through turbulence and it is going to fall, there's nothing that is going to stand in its way from crashing. Perhaps when we crash land, it might be severe, depends on how much damage we do to our system. Maybe, but unfortunately, both the guilty and the innocent get to
Will
bear the
suffer.
brunt. Because what we're generating as a country, I always go back to my line of national karma, is worrisome. And like I mentioned, we as a citizen, we have become complacent. We've become accustomed to the level of decadence in our system. We talk about it, but then where do we go from here?
You know what? So where we will go from here, let me just quickly wrap it up because we ran out of time, is we're hoping that somebody is listening and somebody will begin to do the right thing. It just takes one person to say, you know what, from today we'll start to do the right thing.
Uwa, what about the four of us sitting here?
We're already doing the right thing by talking about
We're
it.
talking about
Thank you,
it.
Elsie Godwin. Thank you, Isia Fodele.
Thank you.
Milola. We had a fantastic conversation, but
Thank
it
you.
is food for thought
Our
for every
viewers.
single one of you. Please, before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, we're planning a giveaway to say thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand and following the conversation. Do well to follow us now. It's at PlusTvAfrica. Like, share, and invite families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. If you missed today's quote from Stephen Covey, here it is again. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but schedule your priorities. It's very important. Very, very important. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.